What's up? What's going on, guys? Figured I'd just give you a quick recap of yesterday's race. Kind of explain what happened, what I think's going on. Uh, Definitely wasn't the showing that I wanted, but a lot of factors too. Um, I got a new shifter in the car that I'm still trying to figure out. It's not a whole lot different, but it is different than the B&M Pro Stick that I've been running for 10 or 12 years. So I mean that's something I'm still learning. I start the car differently. You know what I mean, with the switch panel up high now. It's not I don't start on the key anymore, and all just factors that I'm trying to get comfortable with the new setup. So, but that's no excuse for how the car ran. So first qualifier went out. Thing ran beautiful. Went 651 at 105. It was great. Felt great. Left great. Um, really felt confident after that. Thought it was going to be a really solid day. Um, Next qualifier, it goes 680 something. I think it was like 685 or something, and it was only like at 101 mile an hour, so it was down 4 mile an hour, and it felt. And I thought, and when I did the burnout that pass, I was in the water too much, so I didn't really get a good burnout, and I really felt like it spun at the 60. And I thought, okay, that's what happened. Just bad burnout. Spun at 60, and that was that. So it felt kind of sluggish though. So I thought, well, I haven't put plugs in it in a little bit, so had a set of NGKs on me, so I threw them in and went up for round one. Luckily, get up there to staging lanes. There was actually five buys that happened because there was I think two. One of them was an actual buy for the bracket. One guy was broke, and then there was three cars that didn't show up. So they just, instead of readjusting the ladder at that point, they just gave us all buy runs, which was cool. Gave us all a first round win, and I was excited because I didn't know what this thing was doing. So lo and behold, round one, it goes 690, 690 something at 100, 101, I think it was again. And I thought, what in the hell is going on? It felt sluggish again. The burnout was fine. And to the fault of my own, I have this Holly Dash, and I didn't log any runs yesterday. I didn't think about it. I'm like I said, I'm trying to learn the car again, kind of on the inside. So got it back to the pits, and I knew something was wrong. And I actually started thinking the motor was hurt because it was a slug, man. Down 4 or 5 mile an hour, just didn't seem right. And while poking around in the engine bay while the car was sitting there idling, I just happened to look at the front fuel bowl, and the fuel was barely in the sight glass. It was low. So I thought, okay, I got something going on here. Maybe it's going to lean, and that's the problem. So I tore the front of the carb apart, took the bowl off, and the float was a little jacked up. Needle C was a little messed up a little bit. So I got that all cleaned up, got everything moving the way it should, put it back together, adjusted everything, felt good. Thought, all right, cool, found it. That's the issue. So head into round two, and then I knew, and this class is going to be tight. I think the guy that won yesterday, he caught a perfect light and went. I don't think he went dead on 650, but he went 653 or something like that. But it just shows that this class is going to be brutal. Um, so I knew going into round two, I was going to have to cut a good light and just drive it out. So, but as soon as I let go of the button, I could tell again it wasn't there. It was down on power. So I gave that guy in the second round an easy win, and that happens. I've been on his side of that too. But car went 690 again at 101. I mean, it was printing tickets for them three passes. Like, it was really consistent. But this pass, I data logged it. Okay, just in case the fuel thing wasn't the problem. I'm glad I did. I got back to the pits. I watched the run over on the dash. And lo and behold, it was only making 8 pounds of boost. It was only making 3 pounds on the trans brake. Normally it makes 6 to 7 pounds on the trans brake, and then at the top end I'm around 15, 16 pounds. So I'm down on power, huge. There was no chance of me doing anything. Didn't matter what I did, nothing. So it sucked. It sucks, being helpless at that point. And that's what being a power air car sometimes blows, man, because these are the things that you got to deal with, being an NA car. I'm not saying it's easy. I understand it's not easy, but you take some of the stuff out of the equation there. So, but this now I got to find out what's going on. So in my eyes, what I think is what's happening, I kind of had a couple Miller Lights over it. I think what's going on is I'm only running on gate pressure, and that's why it's only making 8 pounds. Okay, so the wastegate's down there. There's a spring. If you don't know, there's a spring in it. And if it's not being held back by anything, which would be like this manual boost controller, if it's not being held back, it's only going to make what that's going to allow it to make. And that's what I think is going on. So in my eyes, what I think is happening is either this shit the bed after Q1 for whatever reason, or in one of these lines somewhere, and I might find it, there's a hole, clearly, which isn't allowing this to do what it needs to do. So what I'm going to do this week, these mornings coming up, I'm going to pull all these lines off here, probably pressure test them, and go from there. Just see what happens, see what I find. Hopefully I find something. I might even buy just another one of these cheap boost controllers. They're like $30, I think. And they just obviously they get the job done. They're nothing fancy. They're not boost leashes, none of that BS, but they work. So that might happen. I might see if I can pressure test this somehow too. If you guys have any suggestions on how to do that, I'm all ears. But I'm gonna poke around. So that's what I think's going on, guys. I don't think the motor's hurt. I really don't. After I seen that in the data log, that was an eye opener, and it made me feel better that there's nothing going on here, and that it was just running what it could run on 8 pounds. And to me, in yesterday's heat, and let me tell you about the freaking heat yesterday, I don't really think anybody anticipated this. It was like 85 degrees there, and I'm kind of red. Yeah, I'm red. I don't know, I can't really see it, but I am burnt, dude. It was 85 degrees. The water grains were pretty high. Humidity wasn't terrible. The DA was definitely not great, and for a power air car, it's terrible. So I was fighting that too. So to see it when it went 6:51 in the morning, I knew that was good, but I also knew it wasn't going to do that again because it got hotter as the day went on. I knew it was probably going to be in the 53, 55 range by evening, which can work, but you gotta cut that goddamn tree down for that to work. You know what I mean? A lot of those guys are going 650s dead on almost every pass. So you're at the tree. So I knew my day was going to get a little slower, and I was ready to combat that and ready to deal with it. I was going to throw some timing at it and just go from there, So, but she decided she only wanted to make 8 pounds, and it went when it could go on 8 pounds, and I'm not mad at that. They went 690s on 8 pounds of boost. That's cool. So, but I'm going to tear it apart, tear these hoses off, and I'll see what I find. When I do find something, hopefully I find something, I'll be sure to tell you guys. So the next one, they're racing today. I towed out of there specifically based off the forecast, and really because of this issue. I don't know that I would be able to find it at the track, but it's freaking beautiful out right now, so they might get it in. I don't know. If they get it in, I'm out points, and it's whatever. But we'll see. So next race there is in 2 weeks, I believe, and I'll be there. Hopefully, in the meantime, I can find something on this. If I don't find anything obvious, I'm just going to replace lines, put a new boost controller on it, and I'll take it out in the street and see if it makes what it needs to make. So, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, have a good one.